So recently I went carnivore. That means no vegetables, no grains, just meat. All right, so my name is Brad and I am the Butcher Wizard. I teach people how to save money cutting meat at home. And on this channel, like I always say, we cut meat, we cook meat, we eat meat. So me going on the carnivore diet was no big shock to anyone because I love meat and it's my passion. So let's just do a diet where we only eat meat. This sounds like a no-brainer. So I have embarked on this challenge where for the next 30 days, I am eating only meat. I'm going on the carnivore diet. And after a few days, I realized that this was gonna be harder than I thought. So I enlisted a coach. I needed a carnivore coach to help me through this transition. So I found Peter from Carnivore Coach International, and he helped me navigate through this entire transition, which I really, really appreciate. So I wanted to share with you my first coaching session with him, and I want you to just sit back, enjoy, see all of my mistakes, and then so you don't have to make them. If you're interested in the carnivore diet, this is the video for you. You need to see all the things I messed up on and how he helped me out. So let's go to the start of my first coaching session.
Hello, beautiful people. Carnivore Coach Peter here, and today we got Brad. How you doing today, Brad?
I'm doing well, Peter. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have a connection with you. We connected a little bit in the meat space and the carnivore space, and you are recently starting to explore the carnivore diet yourself. You're very experienced with butchering, and so tell me what made you kind of curious to start it in the first place.
Yeah, so I've done different diets in the past. I've done keto for a little bit. I would say I've been carnivore curious for a while as far as I think it's a skill set that I already have. I have my YouTube channel where I teach how to butcher and I have all this meat in my freezer. So this seemed like a good way to go. I love meat. I know it. So that's not a problem. I just thought I should give it a try. I do have, I want to get healthier. And that's as I've turned 40, I really want to concentrate on my health. This would be a great reset for me because I just think that when you cut out everything else, when you only focus on one kind of food, it really makes you, when you're cooking, it really makes you focus on specific skills that you wave over when you're having to make all kinds of other foods. So it's an exciting, culinary journey. It's like I said.
Yeah, and you're a wizard too. You're the butcher wizard. So who better to experiment with this carnivore diet, right? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's also, one of the things to talk about on my channel is how to save money on meat. So I know that the carnivore community, one of the biggest problems people have with it is that it's expensive. So I think people get in their heads that they need to eat ribeyes every day, it's
Yeah.
just a ribeye diet or something, and that's probably the most expensive thing you can buy. So using the entire animal, all the animals, and using them in different ways, cooking them in different ways, you can really vary taste and texture and make it so that it's cheaper and it's easier to sustain. So that's kind of that's my theory that I'm trying to practice with this, what's going on this diet.
That's awesome. Well, it was great to connect with you, Brad. Just to give your audience and my audience a little background. So we connected through one of our carnivore Facebook groups, and you contributed a couple modules to the program. Speaking of saving money, so you're actually helping our coaches who do train clients in the carnivore space how to save money, because that is, you can it's like tallow, you can get fat for almost free, right? Experimenting with different ways to do the diet and save money. And like you said, if you buy ribeyes from the grocery store every day, it's going to cost you a lot of money. But you had an awesome video of how to buy it in bulk. So the coaches are very excited to have you on board on the team. But today I want to help you through the journey of your carnivore, the carnivore lifestyle that you're starting to adapt. So how about you give me a little bit of a rundown of when you started and what side effects do you have from it and where you are now?
Yeah, so I am officially 1 week in, as of I think yesterday. So I'm officially 1 week in. It was, I would say it was easy to implement because I was able to
the meals are very satisfying. Like
Yeah.
my first one was just eggs and ground beef. And it was like, I had that for breakfast. And then I wasn't hungry for like almost the rest of the day. I had dinner that night, but it was like, it was so satisfying and sustaining that you almost forget you need to eat something. So then I think day 2 was where I really kind of hit a little bit of a wall of like, I assume it's because I'm used to having carbohydrates all the time, or a lot, but I got, dizzy and lightheaded and did these other things. I don't think I was on top of my electrolytes as I probably should have been. But after that, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, I really, really hit my stride and really was
Awesome.
feeling back to normal and normal energy levels. But yeah, it's been a good week. It's been a good experiment.
So you haven't had any carbohydrates for a week now, or do you have a couple slip ups?
No, I've been pretty good as far as the whole thing has gone. Like I said, let's see. So the one thing I do that aren't, I allow myself to have coffee because I don't, I really like that cup of coffee in the morning. I'm trying to cut that down. I used to be like, I could drink coffee all day long. So I'm trying to like bring that down just a little bit. So I had coffee and I had some spices and things to kind of, but no, make sure that I didn't have any sugar in them or anything. But yeah, so I've pretty much stayed with the no carbohydrates at all.
Good. Well, it sounds like you did the right thing. When you stop having carbohydrates completely, carbohydrate, actually your body holds on to electrolytes a lot easier when you have carbohydrates. Another thing that happens is when you stop having carbs, you don't have that insulin response. So when you have no insulin response, you excrete more minerals and more electrolytes as well. So you did the right thing. Another thing I think you did well was you didn't try to quit carbs and caffeine together. That would have been a nightmare. Your family would have been like, "Hey, you can go." So I'm glad that you're taking little steps and strides. You're still allowing yourself a little bit of sweetener. You said too.
No, so I've never been a sweet in my coffee kind of guy. So I've just always had, I do a little heavy. I did switch from whole milk to heavy cream, and then that's pretty much it. So I've never been like that much of a sweet tooth kind of guy. I do every once in a while, but I'm more on the savory side.
Nice. Yeah, good. You can add a little salt too in your coffee if you want to
Oh,
give it a little more savory.
there you go.
I find the salt in the whipping cream, it brings out more of the flavor. It's almost like a sweetness to it after a while.
And do you have any like thoughts about salt? Is it all the same? I know because like people talk about different salts having different mineral contents. Do you feel those are created equal or different?
Yeah, that's a bit of a controversial question because one good thing about table salt, like iodine salt, is that it has iodine in it. And if you're not having a lot of dairy or a lot of seafood, that does help to have iodine to support your thyroid. But yeah, certain salts like Celtic salt and Redmond salt, which you may have heard of, they have more of like the different kind of minerals because there's many different kinds. There's magnesium, there's potassium, there's this, the basic sodium. So getting like a good quality salt is important, but it's not like a be all end all. You can salt to taste, get a good quality salt if you can, but it's not a deal breaker in carnivore.
Okay.
So let me take a quick break from the interview and really explain what Peter does with Carnivore Coach International. So he is a carnivore coach that also coaches carnivore coaches. I know that's kind of meta, right? Carnivore coaches, coaching coaches. I've never said the word coach so many times in my life, but it really is true. So if you're interested in being a carnivore coach, you need to connect with Peter and his team, and they will help you not only learn the ins and outs of all the science and all that, how to implement the diet, but also how to make a business out of it and how to actually make money. Because again, I hate to say it, but if you want to do something, you want to help a lot of people, it has to be sustainable. So you have to be able to make a little bit of money so that you can pay your light bills and pay your internet bills. Like, trust me, with my channel, there's a ton of expenses, and you need to figure out how to make a little bit of money so you can keep the lights on. Well, Peter at Carnivore Coach International is here to help you. Go to the link in the description, Book a call with Peter, and he will personally show you how he can help you and make a business out of coaching people, helping people. You know, there's a lot of carnivores out there and they need a lot of help. Just like me, I'm new and I need a lot of help. So go ahead and check it out.
Now, another thing I'd recommend too is keep up your salt intake. Like a good way to kind of see if you need salt or not is I say salt to taste. So if you have put salt on your meat and you're like, I want some more, put some more on. It's your body saying that that it's craving some more minerals and that kind of thing. What have you been doing for salt so far?
I've always used just kosher salt in my cooking. That's back from my restaurant days where,
Awesome.
you just don't want it to stick on your fingers. And that's what we did all the years I was ever in a restaurant, we used kosher salt. So that's pretty much all I've done. But
Yeah, kosher is a good quality salt. It's funny because I'll suggest something like Celtic salt or Redmond salt, and then someone will just chime in the comments and say, you know what, it's not 100% pure. You do what you can do, and whatever you're comfortable with. If you do want to get an electrolyte mix or something, you can do that. I'm not sure. Did you do that? You got electrolytes specifically, or?
yeah, I just had some liquid IV, as
Hmm.
my son takes them when after football practice. So he takes a little electrolytes every once in a while. So I just kind of what I had, but it did the trick. I wouldn't say it was instantaneous, but within an hour, I was feeling much better. So that's kind of how I, you know, thought that was exactly what the problem was.
What were the symptoms? Like, how did you know that your body was kind of low in
I was
electrolytes?
really dizzy, almost couldn't walk when I got up from the couch or in the evening was really almost I had to settle myself. It was very much a different response than I've ever had to something like that. But it was like, and when I lay down, went to bed, my head's kind of spinning. It was almost like I drank alcohol or something, and that's kind of how I felt. And I'm like, well, like that's weird.
Well, I'm glad you listened to the body. Glad you were intuitive enough to say, okay, I'm needing some electrolytes, and you said you felt better within an hour.
Yeah, but then I took it the next day because I was still dizzy in the morning, and I was like, okay, let me try this because I do have done some research on just different podcasts and different stuff like that. So they said watch your electrolytes. I'm like, I'll give it a shot, and it works. So
Awesome.
so now I kind of do it now I just do it daily before I have a problem. Even though I don't even know if I'm gonna hopefully I won't have that problem anymore, but it just seems like it.
Good. Well, it sounds like, yeah, that if you did transition quite fast, which is what you did, like usually with my clients who I transition them slowly, like over like 4, 6, sometimes even 8 weeks, you kind of jumped in quite quickly. So you want to keep an eye on those things. So you want to keep an eye on the electrolytes. You want to just monitor how you're feeling. But your diet was probably already quite meat heavy, I would assume, being the butcher wizard and all.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's pretty standard. I don't eat a lot. I don't eat a ton of junk food and things like that. But yeah, meat, vegetables, grains, like just kind of like that standard, I don't know, meat,
How's your,
meat and meat, rice, meat, potatoes kind of thing.
yeah, like the balanced.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling now? Like with the electrolytes, and you feel pretty normal?
Yeah. Right now, the last couple days, I feel really normal. And, you know, it, it hasn't really affected me now. Yeah. I mean, I can't even tell the difference. I think that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, good. So you may not have even experienced the full benefit of carnivore yet. Like sometimes it takes a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, because I have done like with people who talk about what their experiences are. Yeah, I don't know if that gear has kicked in yet. I'm just like for me, I'm just glad that the getting past that first initial thing is over, and then as we go forward, I'm excited to see what comes next. Because I
Awesome.
really want to get back into a little bit of exercise and a little bit of other things. I usually just would go for a walk, take my dog for a walk, something like that. So I want to get back into that. That's probably this week. I will try to prioritize that a little more.
Awesome. Well, how about you just keep doing what you're doing this week, and maybe we could check in next week and make sure that you're still on track. Everyone adjusts like differently, like everyone's reactions are different. For instance, if someone's having an electrolyte imbalance, like they might get heart palpitations, They might have sleep disturbances. They might have diarrhea. They have washroom issues. They might have constipation. So we'll do another check-in next week if that's okay, and just make sure you're on track with everything. Another thing that I want to know is like, how much are you eating on the day, like every day? Is it average or?
Yeah, I would say probably calorically, it's probably the same, but it's not the same
Okay.
amount of food. Because like, do like to have that. I have my first meal probably about 10 or so, and it's that eggs and ground beef, eggs and bacon, something like that, and that really sustains me through lunch. I think one of the problems that I'm had, or one of the things I need to work on is the staying ahead of kind of hunger. So what's
Hmm.
happening for me so far is that I have that first meal. I'm not hungry until 1 or 2, but then I get real hungry at
Then you're
2.
really hungry.
Yeah. It goes for like the bottom drops out and I'm like, okay, now I'm really hungry. And I think with this, it's kind of hard to have something on hand that you can easily like fix that problem without, you know, when you eat on a regular diet, you like, okay, I can have some sort of meal replacement bar. I can have something here. With this, it's a little more difficult. Do you have any suggestions of different foods I had some hard-boiled eggs on hand, and that
Yeah.
worked pretty well. But like, do you have any other things that worked for your clients in the past about like quick and easy things to have on hand?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, as you do this long term, over time, let's say after a few months, usually your body adjusts to having like one big meal a day, maybe two. But during that transition time, you still have those hunger signals like throughout the day. And I've been there. It's like when you're hungry, it's like you are hungry, like you're hungry like deep within, right? And so having things on the go are helpful. So one thing I'd recommend is it doesn't have to be perfect. Like when you are on the go and you are stuck, sometimes you have to settle for more keto things, like things that are lower in carb. But if you do want to prepare, if you're okay with jerky, if you can find a good quality jerky on the go, bacon, if you have it pre-cooked and you can keep them in little baggies, bacon keeps quite a while because it's very high in fat. Another thing that hard-boiled eggs. It's a great suggestions. Easy. Now, this is a more unpopular one, but pork rinds. Have you ever seen those bags of pork rinds?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know
Yeah.
about pork rinds. Yeah.
When you're eating them, everyone knows you're eating them. Like it's a very strong smell to them, but my kids had a rule with me. They're like, Daddy, you can't eat it in the same, you have to eat them outside, you know? But pork rinds were like a lifesaver for me. And I even called them a superfood because it's like a bag of chips. They're crunchy, they're satisfying, they're salty, and they're just, if you can get good quality ones, it's just pork and pork fat and salt. So I tell you, the pork rinds saved me multiple times. And those would be like my main go-tos. If it is cooler, I'm not sure how the weather, it's probably warm there, but if you're during the cooler time, I actually would have like sticks of butter in my car sometimes, and I would just take a bite of it, just like one bite. That would satiate me for quite a while. Doesn't mean you have to have a whole stick of butter, but sometimes just like one bite or like a spoonful is really good on the go. And if you're really struggling, like if you're having some fats and you're having some protein and still you're having a real low, it could be your body hasn't been fully adapted to just thriving on fat instead of carbohydrates. And in those instances, sometimes you have to settle with like a spoonful of honey with some salt just to tide you over. But it sounds like you've adjusted. I think sugar is kind of out of your system. Maybe you haven't had many sugar cravings. Sounds like.
Yeah, not that much. Yeah.
Okay. So you might not
And like
need
I said, I think we could just get through it with this regular, I think for me, it's just staying satiated is the biggest thing. Because I have learned through this that very quickly that a lot of the times where I think I've been hungry have just been because I think it's time to eat. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So okay, I have this pattern where this is when it's time to eat. Well, with eating this way, I'm very satiated. So it's not so much of like, okay, I got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now it's kind of like, okay, just eat when you're hungry kind of thing.
Yeah, but then it's like when you're hungry, you're like you're really hungry. So you're exactly right. It's not like being carb heavy where it's like you have these insulin spikes throughout the day, and these spikes and these crashes. carnivore is different. It's like more of a settle. But when you're being prepared is very good. I found that was hard for me because it's like to prepare meat, like you have to cook it. You have to preheat the oven. You have to make sure you have it on hand. And that's tricky. And it's like sometimes you that's where a lot of people fail. They get so hungry at one moment and then they're like, there's donuts right there. And they're like, okay, those look really good. I'm just gonna stuff them in my face. So you have the right idea, being prepared. And I gotta ask, like, what is the Butcher Wizard's favorite go-to carnivore meal? I'm so interested.
Yeah, so I have been having fun going through my freezer because I know I was joking that I have a lot of meat in my freezer. I mean, I can't hardly close it, so, because you know I have been I got into with the Chuck and Chuck steaks. Denver steaks have been one of my favorite things. I've always loved a Denver steak. It is kind of my cheap, like it tastes like a New York strip, but it costs $5 a pound. And, so those are one of my favorites. I did find a little cache of Denver steaks in my freezer, which I've been enjoying. But yeah, I mean,
Yum.
I like New York strips. I like Denver steaks. Let's see. I've just done a lot of ground beef, to be perfectly honest. Like that's what sounded good to me a lot of times. But I've been grinding my own because I just have a bunch of meat
Oh,
hanging
okay.
around. So I've been doing my own grinding, and then you can control the fat content that way. So I have some beef tallow that I made like 4 or 5 months ago that I've been rediscovering. Like, oh yeah, I need something to cook all these things in, and beef tallows worked out great. So
Awesome. Yeah, there's
yeah,
lots
man,
of
I'm really enjoying the foods.
yeah. Actually, beef tallow has been coming back in my life too. It's like because some things I do is like, and with my clients is like sometimes we'll do a fat only fast to give the body a break of having the protein throughout the day, and it's just like a weight loss strategy we use. And when you're hungry, you're hungry. And sometimes just a scoop of that tallow with some salt on it, it's very satisfying. But we're not there yet. Maybe one day, but you can just enjoy the meat for now. Enjoy cooking it up.
All right, carnivores, have you ever wanted to learn more about how to save money on meat? The carnivore diet can be very expensive, and I want to show you how to save money cutting meat yourself. That's what I do, that's my whole thing. I created a private membership group called the Primal Cuts Club. So basically, in that club, we take a deep dive into meat butchery. So, how to save money. The first thing is our in-depth tutorials. So I have an overhead camera that's kind of like a culinary school class. I used to teach culinary school, and I really want to like show you the ways of how people who are in the food industry get taught. So we have an overhead camera. I show you all of the intricate details on how to cut your favorite cuts, how to break down your favorite cuts. That's better. 2 times a month we get together and we have a Q&A session that's live on video. So if you have a specific question, I bring you up on the virtual stage, we talk about it. You can talk to me directly, which we can't do on YouTube. We also have a thriving community where you can post your pictures on the things you just cut, or how much money you saved, or some deals you have at a grocery store and you want to share that with other people. This is the place to do that. Primal Cuts Club is the place where you need to be if you want to go to the next level on how to be your own home butcher. So, click the link in the description, hit the QR code, all the things, and I can't wait to see you in there. Let's go. Man, this is so much fun. Let's go do this.
But do you have any more questions for me for now until we talk again?
I just, I don't have I'm trying to think. I think for me, my challenges are my next biggest challenge is incorporating it in with my family.
Yeah,
And
I was going to
I know that's
ask.
kind
Yeah,
of more of a lifestyle thing than it is anything else. But
yeah,
you know, any tips on that? Like, because what I've done is still cook the meals that we normally cook, and then I just have the meat element, and then maybe I'll have a hard boiled egg with it, or fried egg with it, or something like that. But yeah, so I think that's one of my big challenges. I think that's more mental than anything else, because you're like, oh, there goes all the other stuff around the table, and here I am with my, my steak or my
yeah. But that's part
chicken
of
or
it.
whatever it is.
That's part of the journey. Yeah, and I can respect that. I have 3 children myself, and that's part of the journey, because you want them to stay included, because, food is a community thing. So what I do is I share the meat, whatever I have with them, but I still offer them like the vegetables or the rice, what have you, with them. But that's another thing that has been really useful, is having the carnivore recipes, because that's something I can include with them. And we could make the waffles, and we can make the carnivore bread, and we can make the carnivore desserts. Like, I just made the creme brulee with my girls, and it was really good. And it was just cream and egg yolks, and you caramelized it was really good. But yeah, just include them a little bit. And another thing I found is that they kind of get excited with you. Instead of you being over here, you can include them in that journey, and be like, they can watch their dad, like how you are improving, or how I am improving. And it gets them excited for us too. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. It's just, there's so much of this. I know it's only been a week, but there's so much of this. There's so much mental,
Yeah.
more than it is physical, more than it is, there's just so much of it that's like, you eat this time, you eat with this person, you're eating this thing. I don't know. It just,
Social events.
I didn't expect it. I'll say that. This kind of caught me by a little by surprise.
Yeah, it's true. It's like we think food is separate from our life, but it's part of our life. It's a big part of it, right? So yeah, I'm excited for you though. Like, if you are having any struggles, like more of the mental things, please reach out to me, because that's part of the journey. But it sounds like you have a fridge that I'm very jealous of, and I wish I had that fridge. But yeah, I'll tell you, if you have any more questions, reach out. And are you okay if we do maybe another call next week and just check in with you and make sure
Yeah.
everything's going well?
Yeah, let's do it.
And just to give a quick plug, we are looking for more coaches. We certify coaches all over the world. So if you'd like to help people like Brad, or there's many others that need that support on their carnivore journey, maybe we could put in my website in the description. That works for you, Brad?
Absolutely.
And if
Yeah.
if any of my followers want some great recipes, check out Butcher Wizard, and you got some great private groups as well that you can give some more detail to as well.
Yeah, man, it's great. I think any time that anyone can help another person out, especially with this something that is so different than the normal diet or normal, standard American diet, obviously, I think that's a insane help to people if they can just get some coaching and get just like kind of what we're doing here is just like little tweaks, because
Yeah.
on the surface, this thing is like, the concept is easy, but it's difficult to actually implement. So,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
so I think having some coaching is great.
Yeah. You know what, Brad, that's an excellent point. Like, we think, oh, just eat meat and shut up, but I trained hundreds of people on this diet, and there's so many things that could happen, like the emotional things, the social things, the physical things. You could have a histamine intolerance. You could have an electrolyte imbalance. You could have an oxalate dumping. You could have a food reaction. There's so many aspects to this diet, because it's totally different than our everyday diet. There's a lot of things that can come up, and that's where the coaching is helpful. And especially if you have a physical goal, like you have a certain goal that you're headed towards, and the world is going to, like, a lot of things can get in the way of that. So having that support system is important as well.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Brad, good chatting with you. I'll stop recording, and then we'll go from there. Sound good?
All right, sounds great. Thanks.
All right. Peace and meat. Give me a peace sign, Brian. I need a peace sign from you.
Peace. Okay. I know
There
you.
go.
Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. I'm trying carnivore for the first time, so please follow along with all the videos that I'm doing. And I'll have a playlist in the channel so that you can see all of them in a row. Go ahead and check the description for links to the Carnivore Coach International and the Primal Cuts Club. Man, we have so many resources for you. If you are a new carnivore or you are a established carnivore, how we can help save you money and just make this diet and your health goals so much easier. Thank you so much. We will see you in the next one.